How's it going, XRP holders? Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Appreciate you guys as always. Happy Sunday wherever you are around the world. It is very, very late here, but I decided, let's talk about XRP, give you guys my overall analysis. As far as the market is concerned, we're seeing quite a bit of red across the board, pretty much since Friday. Friday closed off on a little bit of a negative note. Saturday was pretty much, a little bit of a red day. And of course, as we are going into Sunday morning, we're seeing that really playing out. But in a grand scheme of things, market is looking really great. We're just seeing a little bit of a retracement, but obviously over the weekend, we need to always remember the CME futures are closed. That is something that, we cannot forget. But if we're looking across the board, XRP is down about 2.2%. So is the broader market. So we shouldn't really be ignoring, the broader picture. But if you're looking at the price, $2.29, down 2.4% as mentioned in USD, also down to 1.3% in BTC comparative valuation at $134.3 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about 1.4 billion. And if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, that has decreased literally 50% in just the last 24 hours. So again, something we shouldn't really be ignoring. We are seeing, people kind of relaxing over the weekends, and that is also a perfect example to kind of be looking into. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So some big news coming out of Qatar. Qatar Financial Center plans to tokenize real estate starting with 500 million plus towers, also exploring tokenized funds and digital asset rules. We know how tokenization is, revolutionizing the way finance is, done on a day-to-day basis. It's the future of finance, and you are seeing, this being a perfect example. And as I've stated to you guys before, I think the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to really see a lot of different assets being tokenized. It's going to be much easier for people to obtain, a lot of, clarity when it comes to buying and selling. There's going to be a lot of transparency, because in this day and age, there's a lot of questions that could be asked. There's a lot of third parties that you don't really need. And this is what tokenization solves. And this is why you're seeing tokenization being talked about so much. And speaking about tokenization, look at this, tokenized treasuries have topped $7 billion, led by none other than the biggest asset manager globally, which is BlackRock. Build nearing $3 billion, signaling rising institutional interest in on-chain assets. We are not surprised on this channel. But moving forward, look at this: FedNow tokenized deposits. So numerous upgrades have been made to our payment system in recent years to facilitate real-time payments in an always-on system. We believe tokenized deposits build upon developments like FedNow and real-time payments by extending their capabilities to DLT platforms. And shout out to Chad, saying behind the scenes, the biggest banks have flipped. They're all in, wait for it. And of course, at the end of the day, this is still a rumor, but, kind of brings back, the major rumors that we've been hearing since the beginning of the year about, Bank of America using XRPL Ledger. And of course, this makes me also think about the NDAs, those 1,700 plus NDAs that have been signed. Are banks really using, or bigger entities outside of even the financial services industry, like some bigger corporations that are already using the blockchain technology? I don't see why not, because we are seeing blockchain being talked about so much. People are starting to realize the benefits of blockchain technology and having that integrated within their infrastructure, and what kind of benefits it really brings. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And of course, we cannot neglect that banks and financial services industry have gotten a regulatory green light, to offer crypto assets and crypto services to their clientele. Of course, this is still quite new. I think it's still going to take some time to integrate it, within their platforms. But I really do believe that we're in the very near, future where we do see these big banks really start offering crypto to their clientele. And I think that's just going to revolutionize everything. It's going to be a major shift, which will just change the entire outlook on the market. Because believe it or not, even with the ETFs, there is still a lot of money that is still yet to come within the crypto industry, and obviously integrating a lot of different digital assets within your system would change the game, and this is what regulation really does. So very, very interesting stuff. Do let me know your personal thoughts down below regarding this. So you can see, yes, banks will be able to simplify, connect their core systems to Ripple network in the same way they connect to Swift. So you can see Ripple rebuts the criticism of its use of blockchain by saying that ILP gets around the issue raised because it simply connects existing bank ledgers rather than holding the ledger itself. In effect, banks connect their core systems to the Ripple network, analogs to how they currently connect their core system to the Swift network, and the ILP is used to coordinate the payments. And this addresses the fear banks have expressed about the blockchain around privacy, scalability, and regulatory approval, and the issue of having to get to all parties to the blockchain to agree to validate the transaction. And of course, as expected, more delays on crypto ETFs dropped today. Delays include Bitwise and CoinShare XRP ETFs, delays on Litecoin ETF filing, delays on Fidelity's in-kind Bitcoin filing. On the more positive side, SEC acknowledged Canary Fund's staked TRX filing. So we're seeing not just XRP filings being, kind of delayed. It's been, pretty much like this across the board. But in terms of leading the wave with the ETF filings, there's no doubt that, Ripple XRP is in the lead. And it's okay. I think it's just a matter of time where you do see this really getting approved. Right now, it's a delay, which is fine. But I think we are going to see in the very near future where, we do see these ETFs going live. But let's take a look at what's happening with the price. So if you're looking at the dominance, it did go up 64.25% as we speak. Bitcoin actually retraced. You guys can see this for yourself. Bitcoin actually saw a further downside, and we're obviously still being supported by the previous support from our previous all-time highs. We do have significant amount of support around this range as we were breaking towards the upside. That was coming as a resistance. Now it's playing as a level of support. Remember, we're in a weekend. On the weekends, more manipulation than usual, but you can see this for yourself. We did see BTC go down from that 109. And what's really interesting here is, pause my video, go watch my last video. I talked about the potential of us reclaiming 109. I literally said 109,000 to be exact, and we actually retested that Saturday. And then, of course, that was a clear fake out. We did see the prices dropping back down to 106. Obviously, we do have support around there. So that is that. So in terms of our price talks that we talked about, it has nailed it. So right now, obviously, I'm keeping into consideration what has obviously happened on Friday. The tariffs talks happening once again, and of course, we're in a weekend. Those are some things that we need to keep in mind. And as far as XRP is concerned, also same thing as I discussed with you guys yesterday. The potential of us retesting the $2.28. We actually came down to that right at that neckline. I've seen a little bit of a bounce since then, but that support is really playing out as a major level of support, as to be expected for us, as we can see. So far so good. Of course, still in the 38.2. Anyone that's going to come out and see the price of XRP is going down, I really hope you guys understand why it's seeing a little bit of a retracement. In a grand scheme of things, XRP is still holding really good within the 38.2, right below the 23.6, which is all-time high territory. But we're going to take it one step at a time. Thank you for all your support. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.